Hello, it's nice to be with you today. I am Sarah Kincaid at Belford High School, and I am here presenting to you today about my ARI grant that I worked on throughout this year. I want to give you some background information about it, and then talk about it towards at the end, how things progress throughout the year. So let me set my presentation up. So it says, not a blank canvas. As many of you all had to deal with for the last few years with COVID and virtual and all those things, we had to come up with some new format to present our information. And our county here in Pike County decided to use Canvas these last two school years as our learning management system, as our platform. And so what I wanted to talk about and what I wanted to use with my Canvas was that I realized that it's not that exciting sometimes when you have to go large stretches of virtual or when you have a student who's going to be home for a while or whatever else. And so I wanted to take Canvas and make it better. So it's enhancing Canvas LMS with engaging teaching. Now it says what makes Crash Course so successful. And so we all know, we've all been exposed to Crash Course at one time or another, and we have used it. Some of their things are great. John and Hank Green, I give them total thumbs up because they have millions and millions of views, and they make some very interesting videos. The thing that I saw and that my students complain about the most is that they talk so fast, and they give you so much information in anywhere from 12 to 17 minutes. And even me as a teacher who knows the content, I'm a little overwhelmed at times as well. And so I thought, how can I take that and make some videos for myself that are, take that the entertainment, the energy, the creativity of a crash course, not totally to copyright or to cabbage on to what they've done, but to take those concepts and put it into my own classroom. So that's what this whole grant is about. Now, we wanted to problems that are recognized is we have virtual learning days, we have NTI days, we have blended learning. All of these things are no longer something that was foreign to us. They are very much in our class today, in the world in which we live. And so I wanted to recognize that was a problem, but I wanted to make it better for my students. And and I say this, but better and more efficient for me. And when I'm a better, more efficient teacher, I am a much more effective teacher. And I credit that with lots of things, with new technology making it better. So, as I said, in the fall, Canvas is great. I love it. If they wanted to hire me as a person that goes and tries to sell other schools on Canvas, I totally could, because I see that such advantages to it. I teach high school social studies, and it's very organized. I keep my Canvas pages very organized, and so for me, even though, and I will have to say, I was a virtual teacher or a digital teacher prior to quarantine. So I had been a digital classroom for 2 years. I had used Google Classroom, and I loved it. And then when Canvas came along and we onboarded it, we didn't get Canvas until right before school started last year. So this is our second full year using it. And I was first a little overwhelmed. I thought, oh my gracious, give us Google Classroom. Let's just go back to that. And as highly as I was a fan of Google Classroom, Canvas, I like it so much better. But it's just preference. It's just preference what you've gotten used to. So we've got used to Canvas, and I love it. So we also realized that an issue is that you got to have good AV equipment, and you've got to have, anybody who's watched a YouTube video, you got to have good video. But before video, you can have okay video, but you have to have good audio, and that is so important. And then I wanted to implement Pear Deck. Now, what I wanted to bring out with this, and that was my plan in the fall when I wrote this. I was going to do all these different things. I had planned on buying this big camera and this lighting system and all these different things. But the theme of all of my videos today, and if you watch any of the other ones, is going to be colleague collaboration. that's what I think is the heart of ARI. And I really hate that we haven't been able to meet in person for these last few years, even though we continue to have grants and things like that, because I learn way more from my colleagues at Belfry High School and in Pike County and throughout all of KVEC than I do. I could watch a million YouTube videos, or I could read 50 articles or whatever else. I learn more from my colleagues, and that's what the rest of my conversation is going to be about today. When I went to order these things in last fall, I had this whole big list of this big fancy camera and, like I said, all this stuff, lighting and a green screen and all this kind of stuff. So I went to our tech guy here at our high school, and I was discussing with him what I was going to do and what I wanted to do. And he's like, okay, what are you doing? I was like, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just wanting to make, better videos and, not just constantly be uploading something that someone else has done, because I look at other people's PowerPoints and stuff like that you find online, because we all do that. And I change them, not that they're necessarily bad, but they don't 100% fit with our content or our curriculum document. And so I went through this whole big thing, gave him this big list, and he started looking at it, and we began discussing it. And he said, why do you need all this stuff? He said, you're going to have to set that up and take that down every day, or every day that you do the videos. And I was like, okay, yeah, I figured I'd put it in my office and blah, blah, blah. He said, how about you just use an iPad? And I said, an iPad? I said, what? Why would I do that? Why would I get, I'm like, no, I have looked and found all this cool stuff. And he said, Sarah, unless you're going to be making like big movies, videos, several minutes, he said, if you're doing this just for your classroom, he said, if you're looking like at 15 minutes or less, he said, why don't you use an iPad? And he gave me all the links, and he had all the stuff. He said, get an iPad Pro, get one of their keyboards, and use that. He said, iMovie, he said, you can't really beat iMovie. And he said, that's just sort of the best way to go. And he said, you're going to have a lot of versatility with that. And so I'm like sitting there in the hallway. It's like, are you kidding? That's all I need is one item. And so that goes along with my whole concept of colleague collaboration, because I had done all this research about making YouTube videos and about making school, educational videos and blending your classroom, all this stuff. And they were sending me everywhere to buy 50 different items. And I had a colleague who said, hey, you're sort of still new to this, and why don't you just get an iPad and eliminate it? He said, that'll be easier for you. And that's what I think is the true heart of ARI, is talking with other people, because I'm very confident in my abilities. I'm very confident in my decision making. That doesn't mean I know everything. And here is this guy, Josh Sloan. You all may have seen him before. He's gotten ARI grants in the past, and he had the answer in a matter of seconds, because he approaches things from a technology standpoint, where I approach them from this content teacher standpoint. And in a matter of moments, he said, this is what you need. When I get back to my classroom, I'll send you the links, blah, blah, blah. This is what you need. This is what you need to do. And when I contacted technology here in the county, they're like, oh, yeah, sure, that'll work, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, my gracious, that is so much better. Because as I said a few moments ago, when I'm a more efficient teacher, I can be a more effective teacher. And because I collaborated through the realm of the ARI grant with another colleague, I was able to figure out I didn't need all that other stuff. He said, yeah, that sounds great and it looks really good on paper, but you don't need all of that. And he said, this way, if you're videoing at home or you're videoing at school or whatever else, you've got it covered. So that is the gist of mine. Now, due to supply chain issues, my iPad Pro and my tablet and my keyboard have yet to arrive. They were ordered back in February, back in the late winter, and they have not arrived yet. So hopefully they will get here before the end of the school year. But I have been realizing using this grant and using the tools that I have found online, I'm able to make a much more efficient presentation, and realize that my students do want to see me. And that was something that during my research, is that your students want to see your face, just like we have to show our face in this presentation. They don't make the connection all the time with John Green, even though he's great, or Khan Academy. That's okay. Those are great individuals and great resources, but they're in my class, so they want to see my face. So as you continue on with your grants and apply next year, remember that efficient makes you effective, and colleague collaboration is essential, and it helps you to it opens your doors up and opens your eyes up to so many more opportunities. So if you have any questions, remember I'm Sarah Kincaid with Belfry High School. My email has been included, and I will happily talk about with you about anything that you have planned with your projects or what you're doing in your class. Thanks so much for listening to me, and you have a great day.